Have you ever noticed how we live in an age of unparalleled connection, where the sum total of human knowledge is at our fingertips, yet loneliness, anxiety, and uncertainty seem to cling to us more tightly than ever? We launch rockets into the cosmos and map the furthest galaxies, but still struggle to chart the contours of our own inner lives. It is a paradox that is both humbling and profound, a reminder that progress in one dimension of existence does not automatically translate to mastery in another. And here, at the intersection of wonder and self-reflection, lies a curious and ancient practice, the reading of the lines on the palm. Among them, the lifeline, a sinewy curve tracing the base of our thumb, is said to hold insights into our vitality, our journey, our trajectory. And yet, as we peer at this line, the question arises, is it merely a superstition, a cultural artifact, or is it, in fact, a mirror reflecting patterns that emerge at the intersection of biology, behavior, and choice? Think of the lifeline as a river of possibility, a river whose currents are shaped by the landscapes it traverses. Its depth, its clarity, its curves, these are not just marks on skin, but metaphors for the flow of energy in our lives. In physics, we often consider energy as a conserved quantity, moving through systems, sometimes visible, sometimes invisible. Could it be that our choices, our actions, even our resilience and our failures, leave their subtle impressions upon the substrate of our existence in ways as subtle yet as profound as a line etched into skin? Dolores Cannon, a pioneer in exploring consciousness and past life dynamics, suggested that these markings are not static, they are dynamic, evolving with the soul, shifting with circumstance. Each break, each fork, each minor ripple is not merely a sign of fate imposed from without, but an invitation to engage with our own narrative consciously. Just as an astronomer interprets the light of distant stars to understand processes billions of years in the past, so too can we read the subtle geometry of our palms to perceive patterns in our lives, moments of growth, or potential junctures that call for careful reflection. Now consider the modern human condition. We measure longevity in terms of statistics, health in terms of calories, steps, or biomarkers, yet the metrics of resilience, purpose, and vitality elude our conventional methods of quantification. The lifeline, in this context, becomes a bridge between ancient wisdom and contemporary curiosity, a symbolic interface between what is measurable and what is meaningful. But this is not about determinism. No physicist would claim that knowing the orbit of Jupiter dictates the orbit of human ambition. Similarly, the lifeline is not a decree. It is a map, an ongoing cartography of potentialities. A strong, unbroken line may reflect robust physical constitution. Yet it also hints at the capacity to sustain purpose through adversity. A fragmented line may reveal vulnerability, but also flexibility, adaptability, and the courage to navigate unexpected turbulence. And turbulence is the only constant in our universe. From the cosmic dance of colliding galaxies to the microscopic choreography of particles within a single cell, change is inevitable. The same applies to human life. Challenges, setbacks, and transitions are not aberrations to be feared. They are fundamental elements in the evolution of character, in the growth of wisdom. Which brings us to an essential philosophical question. If our hands bear traces of our past, our potential, and our patterns of resilience, what responsibility do we have to read these traces with honesty and humility? What does it mean to take ownership of the currents etched into our palms? To understand that while some lines may hint at predispositions, the most critical line is the one we draw for ourselves, moment by moment, through conscious action. In the next stretch of our journey, we will explore how the lifeline mirrors not just physical vitality, but the interplay of choice, circumstance, and inner fortitude. We will examine how challenges, those breaks, islands, or forks, can serve as catalysts for personal growth. And ultimately, we will reflect on how awareness of these patterns is not an indulgence in superstition, but an invitation to live with intentionality, purpose, and connection, not only to ourselves, but to the vast, interconnected cosmos we inhabit. Because when we look up at the stars, what do we see but reflections of ourselves? Atomic material forged in stellar furnaces, orbiting planets whose movements are governed by the same fundamental forces that shape our own lives. To understand a line on the palm is, in some ways, to understand the principles of the universe: energy, flow, consequence, and emergence. And to engage with it consciously is to acknowledge a profound truth: that we are not merely passengers of fate, but co-authors of the grand narrative of our existence. As we continue to trace the lifeline in our minds, let us step back for a moment and consider the scale at which life itself operates. You see, every moment of your existence, every heartbeat, every choice, every spark of inspiration is a microcosm of the universe. The same physics that governs the orbit of Neptune, the collapse of a star, or the fusion at the core of the sun, also governs the flow of energy in your body, the rhythm of your decisions, the trajectory of your thoughts. In the palm of your hand, these principles manifest in delicate curves and subtle markings. The lifeline, winding around the base of your thumb, is not a rigid script. It is a dynamic ledger, reflecting patterns that emerge from both biology and intention. It is shaped by genetic inheritance, yes, but also by every decision you make, to nurture yourself, to challenge yourself, to connect with others. And just like the cosmos, it is simultaneously predictable in its physics and endlessly surprising in its emergent complexity. Consider, for a moment, the concept of time. In astrophysics, time is not a universal constant, but a malleable fabric, stretching and compressing around massive objects and energetic phenomena. In our lives, time often feels linear, a straight line from birth to death. But when we study the curvature of experience, the density of challenge, the frequency of joy, we realize that our perception of time is similarly flexible. The lifeline does not measure hours or years. It measures momentum, resilience, and vitality. It captures, in a way, how effectively we navigate the gravitational fields of circumstance. Now, this is where human ingenuity becomes truly fascinating. We live in an era of technology capable of decoding genomes, simulating galaxies, and even predicting climate patterns decades into the future. And yet, when it comes to predicting the trajectory of a single human life, we are humbled by uncertainty. No algorithm can perfectly capture the interplay of choice, circumstance, and luck. Here, the metaphor of the lifeline offers insight. It is not a prediction, but a guide, a reflection of both potential and responsibility. And responsibility is the key, because the universe, in all its grandeur, does not intervene in our personal journeys. Gravity shapes the planets, fusion powers the stars, and yet none of these forces tell us how to live meaningfully. That guidance comes from within, from curiosity, courage, empathy, and action. When you trace the lifeline, consider not the length of the line alone, but the quality of the path it represents. Are there forks, opportunities, breaks? These are not threats, but invitations to act consciously, to engage with life fully, to leave an imprint not just on your own palm, but on the world around you. Let us explore this further. In physics, we recognize that the universe is fundamentally interconnected. Quarks interact across vast distances. Light from distant stars travels billions of years to reach us, carrying with it information about the earliest moments of creation. Likewise, our lives are embedded in networks of influence. Every choice you make resonates beyond your immediate perception, affecting family, community, and society. The lifeline, then, becomes a metaphor for relational causality. Your energy, your effort, your attention radiates outward, creating ripples in the fabric of human experience. But here is the truly humbling insight. While science explains mechanisms, philosophy illuminates meaning. We may understand the physics of energy, the biology of the human body, and the mathematics of probability, but none of that alone teaches us how to act with purpose, how to craft a life of value. That requires reflection, courage, and imagination. It requires acknowledging that while the lifeline may hint at predispositions, your actions are the forces that sculpt it. You are both the observer and the participant in the experiment of your life. And so the narrative begins to merge. the cosmic and the personal, the external universe and the internal universe. Just as a galaxy evolves over eons through interactions of gravity and energy, so too does the human spirit evolve through choices and challenges. A break in the lifeline is like a supernova, a moment of disruption that can catalyze transformation. A fork in the line is like a binary star system, multiple paths coexisting, influencing each other, offering new trajectories, and the smooth, continuous curves. They are the stable orbits of routine, discipline, and resilience, quietly sustaining life even when the stars around you seem chaotic. As we contemplate this, one might ask, is the lifeline, then, merely a metaphor or a subtle record of the forces that shape us? Perhaps the answer is both. Just as photons carry information across the cosmos, each experience in our lives carries information that leaves subtle traces in our biology, psychology, and behavior. And by observing these traces through reflection, mindfulness, and inquiry, we can glean insights into patterns, strengths, and vulnerabilities. But awareness alone is not enough. The universe does not act on our behalf. Curiosity does not replace effort. Knowledge without application is like a telescope pointed at a distant star without ever seeking to understand its light. To honor the lifeline is to take responsibility, to cultivate vitality, to embrace challenge, to connect meaningfully with others, and to act in ways that align with the highest potential of your life. And here lies the ultimate lesson. While the palm may hint at potential, it is the mind, heart, and hands, the choices we make, that determine the shape of our journey. You are, in essence, the cosmic sculptor of your own destiny. Every act of courage, every instance of kindness, every pursuit of knowledge reshapes the trajectory of your lifeline, and by extension, your impact on the world. The universe, vast and indifferent, invites us not to despair, but to act, to recognize that while we are small in scale, we are immense in potential. In the grand tapestry of space-time, each human life is a point of consciousness capable of perception, reflection, and transformation. And when these lives interconnect, when awareness meets action, we participate in a collective evolution, a resonance of intelligence and compassion that mirrors the elegance of the cosmos itself. So, as you look at your own hand, tracing the curves and contours of the lifeline, remember, it is not a prophecy written in stone. It is a canvas, waiting for the brushstrokes of curiosity, courage, and conscious choice. It is a metaphor for your responsibility to yourself, to others, and to the universe that made your existence possible. And in that recognition lies empowerment, the profound understanding that while the cosmos may be vast, you are not insignificant. Your life, your choices, your actions, these are the forces that ripple outward, shaping not just your destiny, but the collective story of humanity. And now, as we approach the culmination of our journey along the lifeline, consider this. The universe itself is constantly evolving, never static. Stars are born, galaxies collide, and black holes devour matter, transforming energy into forms that ripple across time and space. In many ways, your life mirrors this cosmic drama. You are born, you interact, you create, you consume, and in that process you leave traces, some subtle, some monumental, all meaningful. The lifeline is not a mere diagram on your palm, it is the reflection of your capacity to participate in this cosmic dance. Yet here lies the paradox. For all the vastness of space, for all the time scales over which stars and galaxies operate, the moments that define your life are fleeting, ephemeral. A single act of kindness, a single decision to explore the unknown, a single refusal to accept indifference. These are microcosmic supernovae, capable of igniting transformation in ways that echo far beyond your immediate perception. This is where responsibility meets opportunity. This is where science and philosophy converge. The universe provides the stage, but you are the actor, the author, the experimenter. Think about gravity for a moment. Invisible, yet omnipresent. It shapes the dance of planets, the orbits of moons, and the formation of stars. In your life, responsibility acts like gravity. It may not always be visible, but it anchors you. It pulls you toward choices that have weight, that carry consequence, that ripple outward. And just as a slight shift in a planet's trajectory can alter the course of an entire solar system, so too can small, intentional actions in your life alter the trajectory of your personal story, your relationships, and even the communities around you. This is the call to conscious living. The lifeline is a mirror of potential, but potential without action is like an unlit star, a promise of light, but darkness remains. Each choice you make, how you treat others, how you pursue knowledge, how you confront challenge, is an act of energy, and energy cannot be destroyed. It moves, transforms, and influences. In that sense, the cosmos is your co-author. Every interaction, every decision, every fleeting spark of intention joins the universal ledger, leaving behind patterns that extend far beyond what you can see. And yet, there is humility in this truth. You are not omnipotent. You cannot control the universe, nor can you prevent all suffering. But you can participate. You can engage with wonder, curiosity, and courage. You can seek understanding where ignorance would otherwise dominate. You can act where apathy would otherwise prevail. Your lifeline is not a predetermined fate. It is a map that responds to every exertion of effort, every act of reflection, every moment you decide to step into the fullness of your human potential. Now, imagine, for a moment, the entirety of humanity as a constellation. Each individual, a star, alone, we shine modestly. But when we align our actions, when our curiosity, compassion, and courage resonate across networks of influence, we form patterns of light that can be seen across the cosmos. And just as astronomers study these patterns to understand the birth and evolution of galaxies, so too can we study the interplay of human action to understand the evolution of civilization. The lifeline is but one small reflection of that cosmic pattern, the intimate echo of the grand interconnectedness that binds us all. So, as you trace the curves of your palm, consider this. Your lifeline is not a prophecy, a guarantee, or a limit. It is an invitation. It asks you to engage, to explore, to act, and to leave a mark not just upon your own existence, but upon the tapestry of life itself. The universe did not create you to be a passive observer. It created you as a conscious participant, a spark capable of both reflection and action, a node in a network of infinite connections. And in the quiet of this reflection, one final truth emerges. While we are small in scale, our capacity for impact is immense. Every choice, every curiosity, every act of understanding and empathy reverberates outward, creating patterns of meaning, shaping not only your life, but the lives of countless others. The lifeline, winding across your palm, becomes a symbol of this truth, a reminder that the cosmos is not just out there in distant galaxies, but also within you, in every conscious choice, every spark of creativity, every moment of courage. So, look at your hand, trace the line, reflect on the forces that shaped it and the choices that will shape it yet, and then step into your life with awareness. Step into your curiosity, your responsibility, and your capacity to act. Because the universe, in all its vastness and splendor, is not a passive backdrop. It is a co-creator, a mirror, a challenge, and an invitation. And your lifeline, in its subtle curvature and delicate detail, is the most intimate reminder that you are not merely an observer of the cosmos, you are a participant. And that, perhaps, is the greatest wonder of all. That in a universe billions of years old, with trillions of stars and planets, life emerges, consciousness arises, and the human hand, the very palm you hold before you, now becomes both a reflection of the universe and a tool to shape it. Every thought, every choice, every act of engagement is a ripple in space and time. Every line on your palm is not destiny. It is potential waiting to be realized. So embrace it, act, reflect, connect, and remember, even as you trace the lifeline in your own hand, that you are also tracing the infinite tapestry of the cosmos. Because the universe is not separate from us, it is in us, it is around us. And most importantly, it calls us to participate. And in that participation lies the ultimate responsibility, the ultimate connection, and the ultimate meaning of life itself. Now, let us pause and think about time itself. In physics, time is a dimension woven into the very fabric of space, stretching and bending with the presence of mass and energy. Yet in our daily lives, time is perceived linearly, one moment follows another, like beads on a string. But consider this, every moment is influenced by all the moments that came before it, just as every choice you make influences the moments yet to come. Your lifeline is not merely a record of what has happened, it is a dynamic trajectory, sensitive to the forces you exert, the energy you invest, the intention you bring. We live in an era of extraordinary technological advancement. We can peer into the farthest reaches of the universe, edit genes, simulate realities, and yet, in many ways, we are still learning how to navigate the simplest of human experiences: compassion, curiosity, courage. There is a paradox here, one that philosophers, scientists, and poets have pondered for centuries. The more we know, the more we realize how little we understand. And that is not discouragement, it is wonder. It is the same sense of awe that astronomers feel when they gaze at a newborn star cluster, realizing that billions of years of cosmic history led to this singular moment of light. Your lifeline in this context becomes a metaphor for cosmic potential. Each curve, each intersection, each subtle change reflects your ability to influence the trajectory of your existence. Yet, unlike the stars, you are conscious. You can reflect, adapt, and choose. You are not at the mercy of gravity or cosmic collision. You are an agent of influence, a participant in the universe's unfolding story. But here is the critical insight. Power without responsibility is meaningless. The universe does not reward mere existence. It responds to engagement, to curiosity, to intentional action. The lifeline reminds us that we are accountable not just to ourselves, but to the interconnected web of life, to society, and to the planet that cradles us as we navigate the cosmos. The decisions you make ripple outward. A small act of understanding or creativity can resonate through communities, cultures, even generations. And in this way, you become a living embodiment of cosmic cause and effect, a human node in the vast network of energy, matter, and time. Now, let's talk about limits. Science teaches us that every system has boundaries. The speed of light, the conservation of energy, the inexorable march of entropy. And yet, within these constraints, there is enormous freedom. Stars explode, black holes bend reality, life evolves in ways both surprising and beautiful. Similarly, the lifeline shows that while you cannot control every circumstance, you have tremendous latitude in how you respond, how you act, and how you interpret your existence. Constraints are not barriers. They are opportunities to innovate, to adapt, to shine in unexpected ways. Consider this. Your palm, this small and unassuming part of your body, carries within it a map of potential. Not predetermined fate, not rigid destiny, but potential. It is shaped by genetics, environment, experience, yes, but also by choice, reflection, and courage. Every interaction, every decision, every moment of learning is like a small injection of energy into the universe, a microcosmic reflection of the cosmic dynamics that govern galaxies. And as we zoom out, thinking not just about one lifeline, but all of humanity, we realize something profound. Our actions are interconnected, just as gravitational forces tie together stars and galaxies, just as the electromagnetic forces bind molecules and life itself. Our choices create invisible threads that ripple outward. Every act of empathy, curiosity, or courage strengthens the weave. Every act of neglect, ignorance, or indifference loosens it. The lifeline is intimate, but it is also collective. It is personal, yet it resonates within the larger story of life on Earth. So, what does this mean for you? It means that you are both observer and participant, that each day, each decision, each reflection matters, that even in the face of vast cosmic indifference, your actions carry weight, that the palm of your hand, with its intricate lines and ridges, is a reminder not of limitation, but of opportunity, the opportunity to engage deeply, to reflect profoundly, to act meaningfully, And in the quiet moments of contemplation, as you trace the lifeline on your own hand, ask yourself, what patterns do I want to leave? How will I contribute to the tapestry of human experience? How can I honor the universe that gave rise to consciousness, that allowed stars to explode so that life might emerge, that enabled me to exist at this unique intersection of space and time? This is not mystical speculation. It is scientific wonder and human responsibility intertwined. The cosmos is not passive. It is an arena of interaction, a theater of cause and effect, a stage for conscious beings to play their part. And your lifeline, far from being a static diagram, is an invitation to engage, to create, to reflect, to connect. So let us end where we began, with paradox. In a universe of unimaginable scale, where stars burn for billions of years and galaxies collide with gentle inevitability, here we are, conscious, aware, capable of reflection and action. Tiny yet impactful, fleeting yet eternal, limited yet brimming with potential. The lifeline is not destiny, it is possibility made visible. The universe does not demand perfection, it demands participation. And that, perhaps, is the most profound lesson of all. That even in a cosmos that stretches beyond comprehension, your life, your actions, your choices, your engagement matters. That the lines on your palm are not boundaries, but traces of potential. That by embracing curiosity, responsibility, and connection, you can leave an imprint on the world as enduring and as luminous as any star. And yet, even as we contemplate the vastness of the universe, the enormity of cosmic time, we must return our attention to the here and now, to the hand that rests quietly in your own. There's a subtle tension here between infinitude and intimacy, between the staggering scale of galaxies and the fragile scope of human life. And it is in this tension that meaning emerges, not from ignoring the universe, but from recognizing our place within it. Your lifeline is a whisper of that tension. It tells you, you are finite, you are fleeting, and yet your choices ripple outward. It is, in a way, a cosmic ledger, not of what will inevitably happen, but of what could happen. It is shaped by circumstance, yes, but it is animated by intention. Each curve, each subtle fork, each cross-section is a record not just of what has been, but of what could be. If we dare to act consciously, courageously, and with empathy. Now imagine a neutron star. Small, incredibly dense, spinning at unimaginable speeds, a remnant of a once gigantic star. To an observer from Earth, it is a point of light, a pinprick in the cosmic tapestry. Yet within that tiny point lies the power of a million suns. That is, in a very real sense, what your lifeline represents, a dense concentration of potential energy, waiting to be converted into action, waiting to influence the world around you. And like the neutron star, much of its power is invisible until activated, until engaged. Science tells us that we are stardust, forged in the hearts of ancient stars. Philosophy tells us that we are meaning makers, capable of reflection, curiosity, and moral imagination. And society tells us that we are accountable, interconnected, and responsible. These three truths converge in a single, humbling insight. Your life is both remarkable and consequential. Consider the small decisions, the ones that seem inconsequential, but which define the arcs of your day, your relationships, and your impact on the world. A moment of patience, a choice to listen, an act of curiosity. These are the forces that bend the trajectory of your lifeline. In the same way that tiny gravitational tugs over millions of years shape the orbit of a comet, small but intentional actions over a lifetime shape the contours of your life. And while the cosmos does not care in any personal sense, the web of life does, humanity does, and perhaps most importantly, you care. Let us not forget, however, that our personal lines are interwoven with the lines of others. Each connection we form, each ripple we send, intersects with countless others, often in ways invisible to the naked eye. We are in a constant state of entanglement, not quantum entanglement exactly, but human entanglement. And the more we recognize this, the more we understand that responsibility is not a burden, it is the natural expression of awareness. And here is the challenge. We live in a time when distraction is abundant, when the pace of information exceeds our capacity for reflection. Social media, technology, and constant noise can make it feel as if our lives are dictated by external forces, by algorithms, by events outside our control. But the lifeline, like the laws of physics, reminds us of something profound. Control is an illusion, but influence is real. We may not direct the storm, but we can choose how to set our sails. We may not determine the stars, but we can align ourselves with their light. So, what does it mean to live in alignment with your lifeline? It means embracing curiosity as a daily practice, allowing yourself to be guided by reason, but also by wonder. It means cultivating empathy, recognizing that every individual you encounter carries their own trajectory, their own potential, their own cosmic significance. It means acting with integrity, understanding that the small, consistent choices compound over time to create meaningful patterns in the tapestry of existence. In this way, the lifeline becomes a metaphor for agency, responsibility, and connection. It is a mirror that reflects both our limitations and our possibilities. It reminds us that life is not a series of random events to endure, but a canvas to shape, a set of forces to navigate with awareness, courage, and intention. And it reminds us that while we are small in scale, we are not insignificant. Because here is the paradoxical beauty. In a universe that is vast beyond comprehension, your actions carry weight. In a cosmos governed by indifferent physical laws, your choices resonate. In a world that is often chaotic, your intention can create clarity, compassion, and impact. And as we trace the lifeline on our own palms, perhaps for the first time with conscious reflection, we recognize that the same principles that govern stars, galaxies, and the cosmos also govern us: pattern, consequence, energy, and potential. And so, as we conclude this reflection, consider this. The lifeline is not a prediction, it is not fate, it is not destiny handed down. It is instead a challenge, an invitation, and a responsibility. It is the universe whispering through the lines of your hand. You exist, you have potential. Engage, act, reflect, connect. And if you do this, if you embrace curiosity, courage, and conscientiousness, then your life, though brief in cosmic terms, will shine with a brilliance that rivals the stars. Your actions will echo across communities, generations, and even, in a small but real way, across the universe itself. So, the next time you look at the lines in your palm, remember, they are not limits, they are opportunities. They are reminders of potential, prompts for reflection, and calls to action. And in recognizing this, you step into a deeper awareness not just of your own life, but of the life of the universe itself, and your inextricable connection to it. Because ultimately, the mystery of the lifeline is not in predicting your fate, it is in awakening you to your capacity for meaning, responsibility, and wonder. And in this awakening, perhaps you will see that living fully, consciously, and compassionately is not merely a personal triumph, it is a cosmic necessity. And yet, even as we reflect on our lifelines, we must confront a disquieting truth. Humanity is extraordinary, and yet fragile. We live in an age where the knowledge of the universe is greater than ever before, yet the wisdom to wield it often lags behind. We've split the atom, probed the depths of black holes, and charted the trajectories of distant exoplanets. But we still struggle with the simplest question: how should we live? It is a humbling reminder that intelligence alone does not equate to understanding. Knowledge without reflection can be as dangerous as ignorance. And so, as we peer into the cosmos, as we marvel at its enormity, it becomes clear that the lifeline is more than a biological quirk or a symbolic curiosity. It is a call to consciousness. It asks us not just to exist, but to participate consciously in the unfolding story of existence. Think of Earth as a pale blue dot, suspended in the vast cosmic dark. As Carl Sagan famously observed, that dot is your home, your cradle, and the stage upon which your lifeline is written. Every act of kindness, every insight shared, Every decision to create or destroy ripples outward. You are a microcosm of cosmic forces, a node in a network that spans continents, species, and even generations yet unborn. The lifeline is a subtle reflection of that network, a map of your interactions, your choices, your potential influence. And here lies another paradox. Although each of us is infinitesimally small in the scale of cosmic time and space, each of us has the capacity to create enduring meaning. Just as a single supernova can seed a galaxy with the elements necessary for life, a single thoughtful action, a single courageous choice can set in motion a cascade of positive effects beyond our immediate perception. The lines on your palm, delicate and winding, remind you that even the smallest gestures can shape your trajectory and, by extension, the trajectory of the world. Now, consider gravity not as an abstract force, but as a metaphor for our lives. Gravity draws planets, moons, and stars into coherent orbits. It structures motion, stabilizes chaos, and maintains cosmic order. And yet gravity is invisible. We only see its effects. Likewise, the principles that structure a meaningful life, integrity, empathy, curiosity, perseverance, are often invisible until observed in the consequences they produce. The lifeline, in this sense, is like gravity written in flesh, subtle, persistent, quietly shaping your path. But let's not romanticize this. The lifeline is not a guarantee, nor is it a prescription. Life is chaotic, unpredictable, and sometimes cruel. Stars explode, asteroids collide, climates shift, and human conflicts erupt. And yet, even within that chaos, there is agency. We may not be able to control the universe or even fully understand it, but we can navigate it. We can choose how to respond, how to act, and how to create patterns of resilience, compassion, and understanding within the chaos. This is where personal responsibility meets cosmic perspective. By recognizing our smallness, we do not diminish our significance. We enhance it. By acknowledging the impermanence of life, we awaken to the urgency of action. By tracing the lines of our hands, we are invited to trace the lines of our choices, to ask ourselves what kind of life we want to leave behind, what kind of ripples we wish to send into the vast pond of existence. So, how do we live in alignment with our lifeline? We begin by embracing curiosity, not as a hobby, but as a way of seeing the world. We embrace reflection not as indulgence, but as a tool for clarity. We embrace empathy not as sentimentality, but as a recognition of interconnectedness. And most importantly, we embrace action not as reaction, but as deliberate, thoughtful engagement with the universe we inhabit. Every line on your palm is a reminder that life is finite, but influence is not. Every curve and fork is a symbol that your path is not fixed, but dynamic. Every subtle intersection is a record that your choices matter, that your engagement shapes not only your destiny, but the destinies of those around you. In this, there is profound hope. For the universe is not just a cold expanse of matter and energy, it is also a canvas for creativity, a stage for courage, and a mirror for consciousness. The lifeline is a reflection of that interplay between limitation and potential, between individuality and universality, between the fleeting and the eternal. And so, when you next examine your palm, do not look for certainty. Do not look for answers. Look instead for opportunity. Look for invitation. Look for challenge. The lifeline is not a prophecy, it is a compass. It does not predict what will happen. It guides what can happen. It whispers to you across the span of neurons and time. Engage, contribute, reflect, connect, shine. In the end, the true mystery of the lifeline is not the line itself, it is you. It is your awareness, your curiosity, your courage, your capacity for empathy and action. It is the recognition that life is both fleeting and miraculous, ordinary and extraordinary, fragile and resilient. And it is in embracing all of this, your potential, your responsibility, your interconnectedness, that we discover the profound truth of existence. That even in a universe unimaginably vast, our lives, our choices, and our hearts matter immensely. So let us trace these lines, not with fear, but with intention. Let us map our days not with indifference, but with purpose. Let us align our actions not with apathy, but with the radiant possibility that flows from consciousness itself. The cosmos has given us not just a life, but a chance to matter, to illuminate, and to connect. And that, perhaps, is the ultimate revelation written in the subtle curves of our palms. That within the fragile, fleeting confines of our existence lies a universe of potential, and it is ours to realize. And so, when you look at your lifeline, or when you look at the night sky, remember this: you're a product of stardust, shaped by forces that have been at work for billions of years. And yet, within that vastness, within that cosmic immensity, you are capable of choice, of impact, of meaning. The universe doesn't owe you anything. It's indifferent, vast, and relentless. But in that same universe, you have the extraordinary privilege of awareness. You can observe, you can question, you can create, and you can care. That awareness, your consciousness, is a rare and fragile miracle. And what you do with it, that is your lifeline. So, live deliberately. Choose curiosity over ignorance. Choose compassion over indifference. Choose to leave the universe just a little better than you found it. Not because it demands it, not because it will reward you, but because the very fact that you exist is reason enough to matter. And in doing so, you'll find something remarkable. The universe that once seemed indifferent begins to feel intimate. Your life that once seemed fleeting begins to feel significant, and your story woven into the vast tapestry of existence becomes luminous. Because here's the truth. You are not just on this pale blue dot by accident. You are here to wonder. You are here to question. You are here to act. And in doing so, you become part of something far larger than yourself. A universe that, in all its vastness, finally makes sense because it contains you. And that, my friends, is the beauty of being alive.